Hey everyone, I'm Anya Esma. Welcome to another single card deep tarot talk unnamed series. I just say random words together whenever I introduce this. It's not a reading, so this is not a general reading or anything like that. We are going to go deep into a single card. If you've seen videos of mine like this, then you know what this is all about. If you haven't, I will shortly explain it. I'm also going to put a link to all the other single card deep tarot dives that I've done down below in the description box. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw one random card, and then I'm just going to talk about the numerology, the way it fits into the narrative of tarot, the elements, the symbolism, the warning aspects, the encouraging aspects, all of these things I will just talk about in this video. I'm wearing fake lashes for the first time in like years, so I have no idea what it looks like on camera, but it's okay. So let's draw the card then. I'm not even going to shuffle them. Okay, I'm going to shuffle it a bit. So I'm going to draw another card, and it is the Eight of Wands that we have here. Now I'm going to be talking about the Mucha tarot, but also about the Rider-Waite-Smith depiction, because obviously some of you do not use this deck specifically, so we're going to talk about that as well. So there's one thing I want to say about the Rider-Waite-Smith versus the Mucha deck. Literally the only difference really is that there is a person in the Mucha deck, whereas in the Rider-Waite-Smith card you have the wands, you have a blue sky, you have the city in the background, far, far background, and you have the river going on in the background as well. And all of that is in the Mucha tarot too. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to not talk too much about the Rider-Waite-Smith specifically, but refer mostly to this card. So let's first talk about the numerology that we have here. So this is the Eight of Wands, meaning it is situated between the Seven of Wands and the Nine of Wands. The Nine of Wands is an accomplishment that you have achieved, but you have alienated people on the way and are basically tired from the struggle that you have had to go through to reach it. And then with the Seven of Wands, we have this energy of defending your position against other suitors, against people who want your place. And in order to reach your goal, you have to fight for it. And right in the middle between these two, which are about achievement and fighting for it, we have the Eight of Wands. And I feel like it is a moment of being taken aback by the overwhelm that is coming at you. So the Eight of Wands traditionally is a lot about being overwhelmed. With the Eight in numerology, we basically have a lot of motion. The Eight is kind of like applying things that you've learned and putting them into motion. So for example, with the Eight of Cups, we have leaving a difficult situation or leaving whatever behind. With the Eight of Swords, we have a constriction of motion because someone is tied up. And with the Eight of Discs, we have kind of the motion of progress, of working on something consistently and becoming better at it. So this kind of dynamic or motion, forward motion, is a topic in all four suits with the Eight. But it is not possible in all suits, and in this case the motion is really going on around the person. With the Eight of Wands, we have a card where external circumstances are becoming overwhelming, and it's kind of foreshadowing the Ten of Wands already, where we have that feeling of overwhelm, of having to carry everything on your own. And the Eight of Wands is maybe that moment where you notice like, maybe I have pushed away a little too many people, maybe I've pushed away and defended my position a little bit too harshly, maybe I've been a little bit too jaded, and now I'm getting overwhelmed by everything that is happening. So with the Eight of Wands, that is an interesting energy that we have going on, because it is that moment of realization that maybe you need support. However, that support does not come in the Nine of Wands and not in the Ten of Wands either. It only gets more dramatic, where it's like, yeah, sure, you've achieved your goals, but you're also absolutely overwhelmed and hurt by the process of achieving them. So the Eight of Wands, numerologically, is always a reminder to think about how forward motion can happen through the support of others, and not just with you fighting a lone battle and wanting to do everything on your own, feeling overwhelmed and just like losing it, just standing there like this person basically and being like, okay. So yeah, get help for the forward motion that the 8 is implying here. Now, we've talked about the numerology of the card, and we've talked about how it fits into the narrative of the suit, the narrative of the wands, the topics of alienating others, of achieving success, of feeling lonely. Now, let's talk about the symbolism specifically in the card, because there's a lot going on. Now, the wands themselves obviously stand for the overwhelm of external situations. That's a pretty easy symbolism here. It can also be an internal overwhelm, because sometimes the wands are associated with spirituality, with action, and you kind of, your own mental state or your own spiritual state bringing turmoil into your life, or your actions bringing turmoil into your life, if you see the wands representing your actions. So that's a pretty easy symbol. So let's talk about the woman as well, who is depicted in this. So she looks super confused. She has a little bag with her, as if maybe she was trying to collect something, like collect herbs outside the city or something like that. And she is kind of overwhelmed by wind, by things happening around her. And it's also, that is what I mean, a moment of realization how far you have come in a negative sense. And what I mean by this is that you can see the city in the background is tiny, 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 tiny. If you look at the 8 of Wands in the Rider-Waite-Smith, it's the same way. You can barely see that it's a city, but I would say it is. Of course, you can also say it's just trees, but I don't think so. Because here you see how far away you have moved from society, from friends, from the city in a literal sense, possibly. And that comes with confusion, you know? She can't just run back home right now and stop gathering herbs, because she has gone out so far and even crossed a river, if you see the river in the background. So there are some steps involved in the 8 of Wands where you realize that you've taken a lot of steps away from something that used to be close to you. Can be a person, can be a mindset, it can be a literal place, and you realize that you are a little bit lost without that. It doesn't have to be a negative thing. It can also just be the discomfort of change happening. So I'm mixing all of these symbols together. I'm fully aware of that, but I'll just keep talking. So another important symbol here is the river, obviously. So if we assume that the person came from the city, she must have crossed that river. And crossing a river is always not just a challenge, but also kind of a thing of like, okay, I'm not going back anytime soon, because you don't want to cross rivers like every day unless you have a boat, but bear with me. It was probably not that easy to cross. And there's no bridge as well. So it's kind of a symbol of emotional evolution, like stepping over a body of water, with water representing emotions, representing deep thought, representing the subconscious, and you've moved past that, you've moved across that. So that is an important symbol in this card as well. Now, I know that everything I've said sounded pretty negative, which is why now I want to talk about the warning elements and the encouraging elements of this card. So the warning elements, I feel like I've already blah-blahed on a lot about because, yeah, you realize that you've alienated people. You realize you've taken steps on your journey that you cannot take back, possibly. You realize that you are far from where you started, in a good and a bad way. So at the end of the day, the encouraging aspect of this card is also that even though there is a lot of change and a lot of turmoil around you right now, tarot always reminds you that that is just part of the process, you know? that the Nine of Swords is going to come and the Ten of Swords is going to come as well, which isn't necessarily positive because both cards also have strong warning elements, but still it's not going to be confusing and sorry, I hope you can hear me well with the microphone like that. So it's not just confusing and terrible that all of this is happening. It's just a natural part of life that sometimes you struggle if you've removed yourself from people, situations, behaviors, mindsets, places that dragged you down. And that is a huge part of the Eight of Wands, because it is kind of that, you know, after the Seven of Wands, it is that freeing yourself of people wanting your place, feeling pressured by others, like in the Seven of Wands, and then becoming free of that and being kind of like, oh, whoa, I have so much freedom now. I'm like in the open. Things seem to be easy, but they're actually really hard because I've probably removed myself from people that have helped me previously or a stable situation that I was in, a job, an apartment, whatever. And I think that is really the core message of the Eight of Wands, that it's just a part of life, that after you make a change and take steps that you cannot take back, things can be a bit turbulent and confusing, but it's going to get better. It's not like you're going to be stuck in chaos the whole time and should immediately run back to whatever city or person or situation or emotional state or mindset you were in before. So yes, that is my rant about the Eight of Wands. I think that was a little bit all over the place because I like went back and forth between symbols and numerology and the place in the suit, but I hope it made sense to you and I hope that you learned something from it. Check out my other videos, my deep tarot talk videos. Again, I want to thank you guys because I get so much positive feedback for these and it actually means a lot to me, because I always say that every video, these videos are easy for me to make. I need like no preparation time, but at the same time, you really appreciate them and you guys really like them, and that means a lot to me. So I just wanted to say that. Thank you so, so much. And check out my channel, subscribe if you feel like it. I'm going to keep making these deep tarot single card talk thing videos. So I hope to see you soon in one of those or any of my other videos. Thank you so much. See ya.